of NFL Live. Marcus Spears, Peter Schrager, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky. Peter, how impressive was that 49ers performance on Sunday, remembering that they're without 16 starters and somehow they still get this done?
It's wild if you look at their group and what they have done with players that you might not be familiar with at home. Let's start with the linebackers, which Mina mentioned earlier in the show. They have 4 linebackers dressing yesterday. 3 of them were not on the roster Thanksgiving.
No.
Signed as a free agent, Eric Kendricks, November 26th. Garrett Wallow, December 8th, off waivers.
I thought that was old boy
Curtis
from Gilly.
Robinson was on the practice squad. Gilly, I'm a fan. Hello, Philly. I will say that this is just a microcosm. You had guys, Marcus Siegel yesterday, flying all over the field. Bryce Huff, who a lot of people are like, Bryce Huff is doing what he's doing. It is the fight and it is the coaching, but it is also those individuals who just do not stop when they are told it is your time. I think there is no more inspiring team than what the 49ers are doing, despite injuries and despite all the men that they have lost. You look at this Kittle injury, that would have crippled a lot of teams. Yeah. That is the life and that is their spirit, their heart of that team. He goes down with an Achilles, gets some tequila in the locker room, drinks it, and says, guys, do your thing in the second half. And they find a way to win with the likes of Wallow at linebacker. And I'm not dismissing these players. They have been playing well. It is just such an amazing effort by this coaching staff and these players to step up when needed.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we talk about these games, we put too much emphasis on coaching over. I'm guilty of this, of scheme and coaching over players. Not the case with San Francisco 49ers. There will be no clearer example of a coaching disparity than this game between the Niners and the Eagles in terms of the Niners doing so much with less and the Eagles doing so little with more. To me, Kyle Shanahan obviously was incredible all season long despite the injuries, but I thought this was his most impressive performance given the competition. The Eagles' defense was so complete, and consistently he found the ways to take advantage of their tendencies and not even just attack their weaknesses, sometimes attack the strengths. Do not forget, this game started with DeMarcus Robinson beating Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
The audacity to go deep on Quinyon. And then after that, he started getting DeMarcus Robinson isolated on Adoree Jackson, which was the clear weakness of this team. Sequencing, matchups, all of it, I just remarkable, honestly, top to finish, but it's been that case all year long.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan should have equity in the San Francisco 49ers. No, like he should get to coach there for as long as he wants to, and then when he retires, he should sit with the owner because he should own parts of the team after the job that he did this year. Another adjustment that I thought showed how smart Kyle Shanahan was, his ability to adjust was the usage of use check once George Kittle was out,
100%.
right? He used use check in so many different ways. He got him the ball in check downs, involved him in routes because he understood that he was another playmaker on the field that could pay huge dividends. And then Christian McCaffrey finding ways to put the football in his hands, whether it was screens, double pass, getting him out of the backfield, matched up on linebackers. He utilized all of the players where he could find mismatches, where he didn't have some of the best skilled players that were available to him on his roster.
So cool.
I love everything he was able to do in this game. And like Mina said, more than anything, this showed you how much coaching really matters in the NFL.
Another reminder, remember this offseason, use check in there. We're in a little bit of a contract standoff.
Let go.
He's been so important to this team this year.
Got him
It's just reaffirming of that. I think Kyle Shanahan has become the best low red zone play designer in the NFL and could be in the last 2 decades. If you just go to some of those touchdowns, right, you're getting manned by Philly. Now, you're trying to affect 3 different ways. Number 1, that jet sweep. You're trying to pull that defender from the top of the screen to the bottom. Done. Number 2, you fake the pitch to McCaffrey. You're trying to take the inside linebacker, move him to the top of the screen, while the receiver slow plays Mitchell on the outside. It's like the parting of the Red Sea with Moses. Like, oh, there it is, wide open. This is disgusting. You motion the receiver over. The corner now means man-to-man on the receiver. McCaffrey's getting doubled by those linebackers. Whatever side McCaffrey goes to, that's the responsibility. He starts on the right, goes inside the tackle on the release.
Crazy.
Purdy, looking to the bottom of the screen, moves that backer as McCaffrey peeks back as he's telling that he's going to go to the flat and then runs the Texas and/or angle route. RC said it's impossible to defend, and in the moment I was like, you're right. I don't know how you defend that.
In Texas.
In the brilliance by McCaffrey, he's reading Trent Williams' block of, do I go outside or inside of it?
But I think that's what made it so difficult to cover. When you decide to go inside, my natural instinct is you're only going out because normally you start out to widen me so you can get back inside.
Yeah.
So my defensive instinct is, okay, right now I'm going to beat you to the flat.
Good point.
Turns this way, gives him the eyes and the shoulders, and then gets right back inside.
That's not some JV coach. That's Vic Fangio. He's doing that too.
All right, Marcus, we've given a ton of credit to the 49ers offense. This defense, I hate to keep talking about who they're without, but they're without Fred Warner. They're without Nick Bosa. How did they do it, especially later in this game?
Yeah, but they all with Robert Saleh. And I think you look at this defense, one, they were great on third down. That's the most important thing. They were able to get stops and get off the field. When we saw this defense play well a couple weeks ago, I think RC mentioned it, they got in the red zone. They were able to force team in the field goals. But the most important thing, and Trey's talked about the guys out there, from offense and defense with the San Francisco 49ers, if you are not cerebral as a football player, you cannot play for them.
Agreed.
You have to understand what the concept is, where you need to be, because the way we talk about these coaches, they are putting you in the spot you need to be.
Can I ask you a question, Big Phil? I don't find San Francisco to be a schematically overly complicated defense, though. So what do you mean by that, like cerebral?
Cerebral means that I allow you to play fast by the scheme and the concept that I'm running, right? Like, you would think of it from this context. So a couple years ago, we talked about Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw when Philly was running the RPO.
Yeah.
And it had them in a mix-up, right? Mina asked, why didn't Jalen Hurts run the football? Why didn't he run the football? I looked at 2 weeks ago. I looked at last week when Chicago, who was it, Chicago they played?
Yeah.
San Francisco?
San Francisco. It was
Chicago,
Chicago, and then this, right? Robert Saleh allows these guys to play fast because of he's putting them in the spots, right? Yeah. Now, you can get caught looking at the wrong thing. You can get caught being in the wrong spot. But cerebral players run the – you know this, RC. Y'all were the best at it. People lament about the Steelers' defense when they played. RC and them knew exactly where they needed to be. That was LeBeau's strength. And now we adjust off of that. That's why guys can come in a week or 2 weeks and play extremely fast.
And they will run the clock, and that is it. And the Eagles' season is over. It is over. There is no trip to Chicago.
This was my Christmas present, and I got a loss. I'm feeling two of two things. A, I want A.J. Brown packing his bags, and I want him somewhere else that is not here. You can't make those drops in that game. And I also want Kevin Patullo flipping burgers at, like, the local McDonald's or something. I don't care. It's like he's flipping burgers. One side, he's cooking, and the other half is completely raw.
Wow.
I mean, the kid is savage.
That was like a morose music.
Well, we added that.
I
but
know.
It was necessary based off of what that young man said. He's got a future in TV, man. Like, I don't know. Come on, let's get him out.
It's the Golden Globes.
Right. Okay, Dan, what happened to Philly, the offense, specifically in the second half of the game?
Regression. And so the second half is the microcosm of the season. Everybody on this football team offensively regressed this year outside of Dallas Goedert. And I think that has to be the conversation. And the biggest concern is this is an offensive line that's been dominant for years in the NFL. This offensive line looked like a shell of itself yesterday. And this against mainly newfound backup linebackers, consistently missing blocks, consistently dealing with penetration, consistently losing one-on-ones, getting pushed back into where Saquon Barkley was. And I think if you're Philadelphia, and it sounds like they're likely moving on from Kevin Patullo and hiring a new offensive coordinator, it's got to be, why did this offensive line play so poorly this year? I understand there's this lack of schematic advancement, but for an organization that has been a stalwart offensive line play, this offensive line got worse and worse and worse throughout the season. The starting point has to be fixing that moving forward, along with the addition of a new scheme.
Well, no Lane Johnson really hurt yesterday, and he might be their most valuable player on their team. But I think big picture, this was a microcosm of their season as a whole. All year, we were hoping that they would just look at the room and be like, Saquon, Devontae, AJ, Dallas, we're all world. Why are we not? And it just never clicked. Yesterday, you look at this game, and it's the second half, they scored 6 points. On 2nd and 10, they're handing the ball off to Tank Bigsby, and then the next drive, 2nd and 10.
They put Jalen Hurts under center 7 times in the second half. 7 runs.
That's it. And even the last drive, which you detailed beautifully to start the show in the first hour, it's monotonous, but then they have a 3rd and 11, and they have 3 timeouts in their pocket, and they can't get to the line in time, so they have to call a timeout. They don't get the 3rd down, and then when the Niners take the ball over on the turnover on downs, they don't have enough timeouts to stop the ball and get it back. They never felt like they were able to get back to last year's magic, so someone needs to take the blame, and Kevin Patullo likely will be that someone.
Listen, Super Bowl defending champs, Adam, are out in the first round of these playoffs. What do we know about potential changes on that staff?
Laura, I think whenever a team goes through the type of season the Eagles did with the ending that they had Sunday, you can expect changes always. That's how the Eagles have operated in the past. A lot of people around the league watching Kevin Patullo, their offensive coordinator, waiting to see if and when the Eagles will wind up making a change there and going for a new offensive mind that sparks this offense in a way that this offense didn't have a spark this season. Meanwhile, the former Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel interviewing today for the Cleveland Browns job, then tonight for the Atlanta Falcons job. 2 head coaching interviews in one day. They probably won't be the only interviews he has. If nothing else, he'll have offensive coordinator opportunities, but right now he would like to become a head coach. And just a short time ago, the Atlanta Falcons announced that they've completed an interview with John Harbaugh, which would seem to be the first known interview he's done since being fired by Baltimore a week ago. But let's put this into context. The truth of the matter is, John Harbaugh has been home trying to figure out and map out his future. He has been in contact, talking with the New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, the Arizona Cardinals, the Las Vegas Raiders. He himself has had the very same types of conversations he had today with the Atlanta Falcons. It's just that the Falcons announced that they completed an interview with John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Well, you could say the same thing in a roundabout way about the other teams. What John Harbaugh is trying to do right now is winnow down that list, narrow it down, and go on interviews later this week into next week. And you would think that there would be a decision sometime here in the next 7 to 10 days or so.
New on NFL Live, Micah Parsons spoke about his head coach's future earlier today.
I've had my fair share of coaches and people around this league that I've been around, and Matt's one of the best guys and people. Like, as a person, I've been around since I've been in this league. I reached out to him when I started saying this, and I said, man, when I agreed to come here, like, you were part of the reason why I came in. I want you a part of this, and I love you, and I think you're a great coach, and he appreciated those words, and we had a brief conversation. But Matt is, I think he's a great guy.
We bring Adam Schefter back in here now for the latest on LaFleur. Adam, what do we know about his future in Green Bay?
Well, they're at a touchstone moment here, Laura. Essentially, the Green Bay Packers are trying to work out a new contract for Matt LaFleur. It doesn't mean that they will get it worked out, because both sides obviously have certain needs, demands, issues here. But they would like to try to work out an extension on a contract that has 1 year remaining on it. If they can do that, great. The two sides live happily ever after. If they can't, that's where it gets interesting, complex, layered, and nuanced. But again, the Green Bay Packers' focus for the time being is to try to get an extension done with Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, the Packers lost 2 of 3 games versus the Bears this season, despite leading for 122 minutes, 35 seconds of those games. I'm sure LaFleur wants another shot at the Bears. We'll see if it happens to be with the Packers going forward. We got a lot more coming your way.